I will tell you about the infratemporal fossa. This infratemporal fossa is situated just below middle cranial fossa. Here I am putting my finger, and it lies between the ramus of mandible laterally and pharynx medially. If you look at the boundaries of this infratemporal fossa, in front it is bounded by posterior surface of maxilla. I am running my finger, and posteriorly it is open and related to styloid process and carotid sheath. Medially it is bounded by lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate, and laterally it is bounded by ramus of mandible. Above is infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid medially, and laterally the roof is deficient. So it has got anterior wall, it has got posterior wall, it has got medial wall, it has got lateral wall, and roof and the floor. The floor is absent, no floor, and here it continued with the tissue space. Now if you look at the communication of infratemporal fossa, the anteriorly it communicates to the orbit through inferior orbital fissure, and above communicate to the middle cranial fossa through foramen ovale and foramen spinosum medially, and laterally it communicates to the temporal fossa. Medially it communicates to pterygopalatine fossa through pterygomaxillary fissure. Now pterygomaxillary fissure, as the name indicates, it is a fissure which is situated between pterygoid plate and the maxilla. Now these are the communications, and let us see the contents. The contents are the muscles. Few muscles are there, and muscles includes lateral pterygoid muscle. Here it is, and medial pterygoid muscle, and lower part of temporalis. Another important content is nerves. Mandibular nerve and its branches, carda tympani nerve, OT ganglion, its roots and branches. Among the artery, the maxillary artery and its branches, and pterygoid venous plexus. These are contents of infratemporal fossa. We will discuss details one by one. Now let us see the lateral pterygoid muscle. Here is the lateral. Look at this diagram. Here is the lateral pterygoid muscle. It is a short muscle and thick muscle, and it has got two heads of origin. The upper head, look at the point here, upper head arising from infratemporal surface of greater wing of sphenoid, and the lower head, here it is, it arises from lateral surface of lateral pterygoid plate. Now both head converging towards what is called as pterygoid fovea. Now as we know, pterygoid fovea is small depression on front aspect of neck of mandible, and here this muscle get inserted. So muscle is inserted onto pterygoid fovea in front of neck of mandible. Some fibers get attached to the articular disc of temporomandibular joint, and few fibers attached to the capsule of temporomandibular joint. Now the very important action of this muscle is to depress the mandible. I will show you. Now depress the mandible to open the mouth by pulling head, neck and articular disc of temporomandibular joint forwards. Now another very important role is the protrusion. Protrusion, as we know, protrusion is forward movements of mandible beyond upper jaw. and this action, this movement is by the action of pterygoid muscle of both sides. When all pterygoid muscles, lateral pterygoid, medial pterygoid of both sides in action brings protrusion of mandible. Now another very important role of this muscle is that this muscle helps in side to side chewing movements, and this movements by action of pterygoid muscle of one side contact alternately with the pterygoid muscles of other side. So these are important action, and the nerve supply, it is supplied by nerve to pterygoid, which is branch from mandibular division of trigeminal nerve. Now look at this. This muscle is a key muscle of infratemporal region, and therefore every structure in infratemporal region can be described in relation to this lateral pterygoid muscle. Look at the superficial relation. Superficially, this muscle is related to, from outside inwards, is the masseter muscle, then the ramus, and the